He's willing to cheat with you. He's going to be willing to cheat on you. Cheaters, the other woman. Are you the other woman? Hello, y'all. I'm Diana Brienne. Well, what am I talking about today? I'm talking about the other woman, the woman who's cheating with a married man. Well, first of all, I want to talk about forgiveness and forgiving yourself. You know, everyone has made purposeful mistakes or mistakes in life and they knew it was wrong and they did it anyhow. Well, you know what? If you're making a purposeful mistake, I believe in immediately stopping it and, forgiving yourself and get away from that situation as fast as you can so that you're not going to continue down a wrong road. But if you continue down that road, then that makes you, that says a lot about you. And I realize that when our emotions are involved in a situation and we're in love with somebody, it can be very hard to break off a relationship. I understand it. I understand it many years ago. I'll tell you a little story, okay, about me. Many years, guys, in my 20s. And I had all kinds of wonderful boyfriends, and I dated all kinds of wonderful men, all single. And but there was this one man I got involved with. I did not know he was married. And he did not say a thing to me that he was married. Okay, nothing. He didn't say one thing. And so I was going along in this relationship. He's flying me all over, flew me to Washington, D.C., flew me here, flew me there, flew me to New Orleans, he flew me just about everywhere. He was gorgeous. He was a few years older than me, but not by much. So he was young and handsome and very, very successful. And just things didn't seem to add up. So I think it was when we were in Washington, D.C., I think we were staying at the famous Mayflower Hotel. I think it was like Christmas time. We were going to go over and see the Christmas tree lighting. I said to him, which we did, and I said to him, I don't know, it just popped out of my mouth. I said, are you married? And he said, yes. And not only was he married, he had 3 little kids. Oh my gosh. I said, get me on that next plane back to California. I said, get me on that next plane back to California, or at least Appalachia. I said, but I want out of here. Oh, he was upset. He begged, he pleaded. He jumped up and down and said he'd leave his wife. I said, I don't want you to leave your wife. You're a cheater. You cheat, you're cheating on your wife. You're going to cheat on me, and I don't want nothing to do with you, and bad things happen. I always knew that bad things happened if you continue to cheat, because I knew somebody real close to me that cheated with a married man, and the whole time she was in that relationship for 6 years, the whole time she just had one bad luck after the other. It was just awful. Just all kinds of bad stuff happened to her. And when she gave him up, that was when her life turned around for the better. And Grandma used to say that if they're going to cheat with you, they're going to cheat with somebody else, or on you. They're going to cheat on you. And I do believe that. I believe it's just part of their personality. But if you are the other woman, then get out of that relationship, in my opinion. I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm just saying, because it's either going to lead nowhere and you're going to waste many years of your life in a situation, and then you're going to have lost all those years like that woman did. Or you end up marrying him, which probably is what a lot of women hope. But then what kind of marriage is that? Even if he never cheated on you, do you want somebody who did that? Do you want to be part of that scenario? I once had a girlfriend, beautiful, wonderful girl, perfect mother, perfect wife, perfect everything, just beautiful. And her husband was like the really nice guy. He was very good looking, but he was just a nice guy. You'd never think he'd ever cheat in a million years. They went to church, they did all the right stuff. He was off on a business trip and he was cheating the whole time with this woman. And he came back and his wife was all in a sexy, sent the kids over to the neighbors, and she put sexy underwear on and greeted him at the door. He walked right past her and said, I want a divorce. He divorced her, threw her in the minivan with the 3 kids and sent them across the country with no money, and married this woman. And I think they're still married to this day. But I have no respect for him that way. No respect. I never talked to him after that. Didn't want to talk to him because, he cheated on a beautiful, beautiful wife. A beautiful wife. And I just didn't want any part of that. Didn't want any part of that at all. And so, if someone's going to cheat on you, or they're going to cheat with you, they're going to cheat on you, most likely. And even if they don't, why would you want to be part of that? My grandma truly did believe that bad things happen when you're stealing from somebody, whether it's cheating with married man, and I say married man, but men can do it too. Men can cheat with married women, but I think it's far less than the amount that, I don't know why. I think women tend to be more vulnerable to married men, and I think married men or men who are single tend not to be as vulnerable, but some do. Some it can happen, but I think if you're cheating with a married person, get out of that relationship. I don't care what direction, even if it leads to marriage. I don't care. Usually it doesn't lead to marriage. Usually it leads to heartache. And think about it. You're stealing from somebody else. You're stealing their relationship, because I'm sure the wife doesn't know nothing about it. She's not saying, oh, well, yeah, honey, you go out and cheat on me. Well, I guess it could happen, but it's pretty rare. And I have to tell you, early on in my life, because, I was briefly married before my husband, and I had a lot of relationships, good relationships. I mean, quality relationships. I don't mean like I slept around or anything, because I didn't. But I had good relationships in my life prior to my husband. But there was one in particular that cheated on me, and it broke my heart. It broke my heart, but I dumped him. He actually went through like 5 marriages after, something like that, or a total of 5 marriages. But I didn't want nothing to do with the cheater, nothing to do, but it hurt me very deeply. And I learned that it was nothing about me. It was nothing. When you get cheated on, it's nothing about you, it's about them. But they may blame you. Oh, well, you didn't do this, or you didn't do that. Poor wife, she thinks it's all her fault because he cheated on her. It's not her fault. It's because he chose to do it. He chose to cheat. And so, if you're cheating with a married man, I believe in getting away from that relationship, because any which way it goes, it's not going to bring anything good. You're never going to feel good about yourself. And so I knew if I stayed in that relationship with that married man that time that over in Washington, D.C., I knew that bad things would follow me, because I knew. Once I knew, I had to get out of that relationship. And I got out of that. Oh, he cried, he pleaded, he did all kinds of things, and wrote me letters and said all kinds of things. And finally, one day, about 8 months later, I met him in LA to fully say goodbye, I guess. And I met him at the hotel. We met in a room, his room, and there's nothing. He was as cold to me, and I was as cold to him, but we went there to say goodbye. And when he realized that I was not coming there to be anything other than to say goodbye, he was cold to me. And I wasn't really cold to him. I just said, this is it. But several years later, after I was married to my husband, guess what? He tracked me down in Europe. We were living over in Europe with the rotary dial phone, and he called me over in Europe. And he said, can I meet you in Charlotte? I said, only if I can bring my husband. That did it. Never heard from him again. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know how he found my number over in Europe, because that's hard to find. But he did. He did. So sometimes married men don't give up, but nor do, married women. I've known married women who cheat. If it resorts to cheating, maybe it's time to either end the relationship or quit cheating. And if you have cheated, whichever side of the fence you're on, forgive yourself, because we've all made mistakes of some kind. Okay, some kind. We've all made mistakes. And so the thing about it is, you want to forgive yourself. You've got to forgive. You've got to forgive yourself. Brush yourself off. Clean yourself up. If you've been the other woman, you're no worse than anybody else unless you continue to do it. Okay? You got to forgive yourself. And I understand how addicting it is. It can be addicting. It can be addicting. When you're addicted to love, it's hard to get away from it. But you got to get away from those toxic relationships, because going with a married person is toxic, and you're stealing from another woman who probably has no idea. And maybe they have kids. Maybe they have several kids. You're stealing from the kids. You're stealing from the family. When you cheat, when the husband's cheating on the wife, he's also cheating on the family. You hear what I'm saying? I put this bright red lipstick on. I know I look terrible with it because it makes me look, the way the lighting is and all that. Sometimes the lighting is just not good. You get bad lighting or whatever, or good lighting. I mean, the lighting, but when you're walking from room to room to room to room, sometimes it just doesn't look all that becoming. So when I'm making videos, especially I put some bright red lipstick on because it looked faded, but then I look back on the video and I go, oh, that looks terrible. So, but I put the videos up anyhow. One thing I learned here on virtual media is to get a perfect video is hard to do, and you can waste a lot of time, and I just don't have that kind of time to waste to go back and redo the video. So I stick it up no matter how I look. If my mascara's all smeared, my eyebrows crooked, my lipstick's on wrong, my lip looks wrong, my hairdo looks wrong, dishes in the sink, a phone rings, my husband walks across the room, someone flushes the toilet, I still put them up anyhow. But yeah. So this is the thing, is that behind that married man is a married woman, is a woman who believes in her husband, who has children, and who has a family, and maybe probably has no clue what's going on. So my belief is this: if you are that other woman, forgive yourself, but don't stay in that relationship any longer. Well, maybe he'll marry me. So what, do you want to be married to a man who's willing to cheat on probably you at some point? And it's going to be complicated. That couple that he went and got married to the other woman, and that was horrible, because she was, the woman that I knew was so wonderful and so kind, and he cheated on her. And this other woman, I don't know what he even saw in her. I do not know what he saw in her. And I knew that family, I knew her, him, the kids, everybody, very close and personal. And it was terrible, terrible, terrible. And then I knew another couple, he cheated, but that woman saved her marriage. She found out finally that her husband was cheating, and she saved that marriage. She saved her marriage. She just, said, she said, she called it brainwashing. She started using positive words over her marriage and said what they were doing was wrong and everything. She saved that marriage, and that man never cheated again. And she's very happy to this day that she saved that marriage, because they have a wonderful marriage. So marriage can be saved even after cheating. Okay, not all marriages should be thrown away, but some should be, but not all. But it should never get to that point. So, if you are the other woman, forgive yourself and get out of that relationship. It may be hard. It may take time to unravel the emotions, but you're going to be so happy that you did. And that's when good things will come into your life, because often when you're cheating, it's only bad things that will come into your life. And so that's what Grandma said, and I truly, truly believe it. And that's why I got out of that relationship with that man. And guess what? I met my husband right after, and we've been married all this time. And so there are great marriages out there. There are people that stay faithful to each other. Okay. And even the ones that have had their spouse cheat on them, remember that can even be healed. If it's the right thing to do, it can even be healed and have a thriving, wonderful marriage again. Okay. Well, from my house to yours, may God bless you. I hope you like, share, subscribe, and I hope to talk to you soon again. Bye-bye.